and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the 2023 Volkswagen Atlas Execline with the R-Line package. And I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from Dalmar Motors in London, Ontario, who happen to sell me my Mark 7 GTI and who have a big city location and small town feel, and who happen to offer some of the most sensible vehicles on the road today, including this one. Now, the Atlas came out to North America for the 2018 model year and was their mid-size SUV offering, and was refreshed for 2021 to better suit the look of that cross-sport version that came out the year before. And it was designed with the only two things that should be considered when making a family hauler like this, which is with practicality and quality in mind. So we take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2023 Volkswagen Atlas to see if it is a sensible choice in a sea of SUVs. So let's take a look. And the Atlas sits atop Volkswagen's lineup as their most expensive and largest vehicle, and comes in 4 different trims in Canada, which are all-wheel drive, starting with the Trendline, which truly is basic because you only get a 4-cylinder engine, cloth seats, and absolutely no options. But if you jump up to the Comfort line, which is still a good value, you're going to get fake leather seats, wireless charging, but at least you're going to get the option at that V6 engine and nicer wheels. Once you get into the 2 upper-level trims, which is the Highline and the Execline here, you're going to get that full treatment. You're going to get nice leather, you're going to get better options in wheels, and you're also going to get that full infotainment with navigation. And you're also going to get the option for $700 to put captain's chairs in the middle, which are pretty cool and very nice. And the top level Execline trim here, you are also going to get a full 360 camera and that beautiful R-Line package. Now, when you're talking about competition, because this is, as we said, a good value and very practical, you're going to be looking at a large number of vehicles in that sea of SUV. So to narrow that down, I try to pick vehicles that fit a certain purpose. So if you're into towing, you're going to be looking at that Dodge Durango as probably your best choice. Now, if you're looking for something that's going to be your best all-rounder, handle a little bit better than this, and be nice and premium, you're probably looking at the Mazda MX-9, but it's not going to be quite as practical as this. And finally, you're looking at the Kia Telluride, which is going to be the most roomy and the most premium looking. So let's talk performance. And the Execline R-Line uses Volkswagen's 3.6-liter V6 engine, producing 276 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque, which is capable of rocketing this 4,750-pound family hauler from 0 to 60 in around 7 seconds. And you're looking at around 20 miles per gallon combined on average with this vehicle, which isn't great. Now, all that power runs through the 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission made by Aisin, which is known for making a smooth shifting transmission. And all that power keeps on going through Volkswagen's well-known 4-motion all-wheel drive system, which is capable of putting 50% of that torque or power back to the rear, and is front bias, so it is very good for neutral handling and being more efficient. And when we're talking steering, it has electro-hydraulic steering, which is good again for packaging, but more importantly, putting all those fancy-dancy safety features on there. And it's got to turn wheels and tires. This here has these beautiful alloy 21-inch Brazelton wheels with these 265/45 all-season tires, and you have to stop. So we've got these silver brakes, not as good as red ones I hear, but very capable. You got 2 piston in the front, 1 piston brake calipers in the rear, with vented discs all the way around, 13 in the front and 12-inch in the rear. And all this has to be on some sort of suspension. So what kind of suspension does it have? It's a McPherson strut in the front and multi-link in the rear, which again is good for packaging, keeping production costs down while not sacrificing a lot of that handling. And all this has to attach to something, so let's talk chassis. And it uses Volkswagen's Group MQB chassis, which has been shared with other Volkswagen vehicles since 2012, including the Volkswagen Golf. And this configuration here, you're looking at about 117.3-inch wheelbase, which is good for the segment. It's quite quiet as well. You're looking at 71 decibels on the highway. It's not bad around the corners for a giant vehicle like this, at 0.88 on the skid pad, and it has a drag coefficient of 0.36, which isn't bad for a brick. So let's talk cargo. And cargo space is one of the Atlas's claim to fame, and it has 21 cubic feet when those third row seats are up, and 96 cubic feet of total cargo space in this vehicle, which is really good for the segment. And it's convenient because you have 50-50 split in that third row, and you either have captain's chairs that fold down or 60-40 split bench. And when we're talking towing, when properly equipped, you can tow 5,000 pounds with this V6 Atlas, which is the equivalent to one of these active urban lifestyles hanging off the back of your Atlas. And when I see exhaust, well, I see 4 fake ones, but they sound like this. Now that we've looked at the exterior and performance features, let's take a quick look at the interior. And one of the other claims of fame is not only giving you a lot of cargo space, but making that space usable for people as well. And one of the things that I like with the two upper level trims, your Highline and your Execline, for $700, as we said, you can get these optional captain's chairs, which look fantastic and are a lot more usable and probably better for adults and older kids. Not just because you can get through to the middle easier, but they're just a little bit more convenient. Now, whether you get the 60-40 split bench in the middle or these captain's chairs, one of the great things that Volkswagen does is allows you to keep your booster seat or your child seat, for the most part, latched on there without having to dismantle it so you can get other people or stuff in the back, and it tilts right forward. Obviously, they all fold flat, but one of the other things that I like as well, I'm not sure if the bench does this, but this definitely does with the captains, is you can slide them back and forth for a lot more leg room, which makes a huge difference depending if you have tall people up here, depending on your legs, depending on whether the people in the back need more space. That is a huge deal right there. And for more comfort as well, especially for older kids or adults, you can recline these as well. Now, when we're talking about comfort features, especially in the middle here, you have this, which I really like if you've got kids, to help block some of that sunlight. You don't have those ugly suction cup ones on there that you always forget when you're rolling down the windows. You've got door pockets, you've got pockets in the back of the seat, cup holders. It's all hard plastic, so they're easy to keep clean. Lots and lots of space. They're big and open, and you actually have two USB-C ports down here and a full plug. So if you got a cooler, things like that, you can plug that in there. And when we're talking about comfort, and again, when they're considering people, you have 3-zone air conditioning with this fancy electronic screen back here. But most importantly, as you can see in the floor, there's vents to try to push air back to that third row, which is really important. Now, as you can see in that third row, there's actually a decent amount of space. And part of that is because this is the full Atlas with the full roof and not that sportier looking crossover. So with the third row back here, as you can see, there's a lot of headroom, leg room, and foot rooms. And one of the things that I like as well is there's also cup holders and storage for those people back there. It really does seem like Volkswagen is considering people are going to go back there. So this vehicle has a huge level of comfort, practicality, and convenience in the back. Now let's take a look at the front. And when we're talking about interior features on the Execline with the R-Line package, we'll start at the steering wheel because we got our R-Line steering wheel here. Feels really good in the hand, feels quality, does feel quite sporty for a vehicle like this, but I think it looks really great. It is telescopic and tilting, but it is manual, so it will not be tied to the memory features such as your power heated folding tilting mirrors and your power heated ventilated perforated seats. But just a side note, we have to be careful right now with that ventilation because in certain areas there is problems with supply issues for some of those parts. But generally speaking, these seats are high quality and have all of those features on them. And as we said, the Execline also is going to give you your beautiful dash that you have here in cockpit that's configurable, but also this 8-inch infotainment that on this level has full navigation and 360 camera. And it's also going to have your Fender 12-speaker audio system with subwoofers. Now, one of the main things that you're going to get in here with a Volkswagen is that high level of functionality and practicality. You've got all kinds of door pockets and cup holders, and they're all actually usable. You could fit just about any kind of water bottle or juice box, whatever you want under the sun in this vehicle, and they make it smart. Here, it's hard plastics, easy to keep clean. As you can see, you got lots of space in the middle console here, and it's carpeted. Again, a nice idea for premium to keep things quiet, even where your wireless charger is here, which is also wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, just so you know as well. You've got tons and tons of space down there. It's huge. It's one of the biggest ones I've seen. You got two USB-C ports as well and a cigarette style lighter. And I also like that they've kept your functional controls here for your heating and ventilation or your climate controls with physical buttons. That's really nice to see that they've done that. And in here you have a giant glove compartment that's lockable. You can put all kinds of stuff in there. So now that we've talked about the facts, let's take it for a drive and see how they feel. Okay, we're going to do our U-turn test like we forgot one of the kids at daycare. So here we go. See how much of a nightmare this thing is to do a many-point turn in. And actually that wasn't too bad, was it, for a big vehicle like this? And in this test we're going to see how difficult it is to park this land yacht. So here we go. We're going to try to back it up to start here in this tiny little space. And actually that wasn't too bad, was it, for a big vehicle like this? And in this test we're going to see how difficult it is to park this land yacht. So here we go. We're going to try to back it up to start here in this tiny little space. And actually that wasn't too bad, was it, for a big vehicle like this? As you can see on the backup camera, it's got good resolution. It's got dynamic lines, works really, really well. I'm able just to basically video game it here and park it nice and easily in that spot. So here we go, we're going to pull in frontwards, and as you can see, it has a nice front camera as well. And a big vehicle like this is super nice to have, even if you're not off-roading, which you probably aren't in this. Just as you can see, I have no idea where the front of this is. Thump, probably would have hit something, but with this front-facing camera, I have a lot more confidence. And one of the things I really like with this backup camera is the different options that it gives you. Here, you have your normal dynamic as we've been using, but here, it puts these three-dimensional augmented reality blocks in there to give you an idea as well, which is really neat. And this one I really like because people probably are going to tow with this Atlas. You have this backup camera as well to where you can back the vehicle up and aim up the trailer hitch, which is really interesting as well. And then you have this final one here, which I think is like a cross-traffic thing, I would imagine. All right, and here's where we do our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test. Like, we got a load full of kids in the back, so here we go. Got our foot on the brake, we got it in sport mode, and away we go. Well, this is definitely a family hauler. Takes a second to get up there, but once it gets going, you're okay. Now, super slow, but I don't want to say super slow in the sense of dangerous slow where you don't feel like you're going to be able to get onto the highway or pass somebody. I just mean that compared to a lot of these SUVs and things nowadays, and I don't mean these 700 horsepower monsters, but just a lot of them are going to be a lot zippier, especially some of these plug-in hybrids and things like that. But with everything else this gets, I think this acceleration is just fine. All right, and here's where we do our emergency style tight brake test, where we hope all that kid stuff doesn't come flying up here with us. So here we go, basically doing everything in reverse, sport mode, and away we go. And again, a little slow, but let's see how these brakes work. And hard on the brakes, as you can hear, a lot of stuff was flying up here, but it handles quite well and stops quite controlled, as you saw. It holds the body weight really well. I didn't feel unsafe. It seemed to stop in a pretty good distance. All right, and here's where we do our handling test and go a lot faster than you ever should on a public road, but we're just on a little parking lot thing, and we got it in a sport mode, and here we go. Ooh, that's heavy, but it actually holds pretty good. Coming in the left corner here, dips in a little bit. You can feel that weight, but it handles really, really impressively. May not look fast on camera, but I'm pushing it really hard, a lot harder than you'd ever need to on a road like that, and it handles really, really well. Okay, and here's where we do our noise, vibration, and harshness test, just to get an idea of a vehicle like this, how it handles on roads that are not quite as smooth as pavement, because a lot of vehicles like this you're going to take, not necessarily off-roading, but you're going to go to the cottage, you're going to go on some little adventures and things like that. And here you want to make sure that the vehicle can do it. This has got lots of ground clearance, but how does it feel? So I've got it in its auto off-road mode, and again, we're not actually off-roading, we're just again going down kind of like a little backcountry type road here, just to see how it feels. And it's very, very smooth, almost as smooth as the tarmac. Gives you a lot of confidence, there's a lot of visibility, and as we showed you before, if you ever are coming up to something that you're not sure of, besides the sensors here like this, you do have that front-facing camera. It handles really well. When we talk styling with the Volkswagen Atlas, I have to say I really like Volkswagen styling, hence I have one. I have a Mark 7 GTI Autobahn. And one of the things that I like, whether it's that Golf or it's this Atlas or any of the Volkswagens, is you can really dress them up or you can dress them down. They honestly look as good in a Walmart parking lot and as comfortable there as they would in the parking lot of an Opera. They really, especially a high-level trim like this with the Execline R-Line, this really does look premium from the outside with those beautiful 21-inch wheels. You've got those nice shape. I like the way that they kept the boxy SUV shape, but there's very, very sharp lines that come through the side there to give it a lot of muscular feel, yet it still stays elegant. That's one of the things that I really like with Volkswagen. It's got this elegant, athletic, premium look, yet it's at a very good cost. It's so many times I've said of my own Volkswagen, it feels like I'm driving a budget Audi, and really you are, because when you come in here and you look at this, yes, it may not be as complex or fancy as some of these other vehicles, but This is just conservative German styling. You look in here, it's a good diverse amount of textures that you have in here and materials. You don't have contrast stitching necessarily, but you do have stitching on the dash, and you do have contrast stitching in here. I like the perforated seats. They are quite firm, I have to say that, but not uncomfortably firm, like you wouldn't want to go to the cottage on a few-hour drive or something, but they're definitely on the firm side. It's very German, yeah? Everything is very proper in here, and that's about as good as Jay Leno does his German accents. But anyway, I apologize for that if you're German. But what I want to say is, like I said, it's very, very nice in here. What I like with Volkswagens is when you shut these doors, they feel solid. You really feel like you're in something well-built and safe, and you are. And as you can see, especially from that panoramic sunroof, you have all kinds of greenhouse light and excellent visibility in here. Lots and lots of space. You feel very open even though you feel closed in. It's a little paradoxical, but it really does feel like that. You feel very safe and very secure, like you're on a German tank. Yeah, I did it again. I don't even know what accent that was. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is it's very safe, very secure feeling in here, which I really like. And when we were talking entertainment or infotainment and things like that, and again, it's very premium in here. One of the things that the Volkswagen Group does very, very well is their infotainments. Not only in how usable they are, but just in how they look. It's a nice looking one. It's only 8-inch, which I'm saying only nowadays, but it actually looks really good. And part of it is because of that gloss black in the bezel, which not everyone likes, but they've done a good job with it. It's a very easy to use system. You've got your main menu there, and as you can see with your navigation, which this has, being the Execline, it's very responsive, pinch to zoom like your phone. Not quite as good as your phone, but almost as good. And you've got that wireless charging. You've got the Apple CarPlay, that's wireless, and Android Auto in this level as well. And what I really like is this digital cockpit. As we just said, Volkswagen does a really good job with this, and so does Audi. This is not as nice as the Audi. It's probably nice looking as far as crisp and clear and things like that, just not quite as customizable. But as you can see, you can go full map there when you change your view here, which is nice. You got several different views that you can do, but that main one that's really nice is the full view of your map. The other things that I like on here, like I said, the steering wheel controls, all the climate buttons are all hard manual buttons still, which I really like. Again, because the Volkswagen is going for practicality and ergonomics, not only up front here, but also in the back. Now, whether you're in that actual third row, which I have to say there's an amazing amount of space. I'm only 5'7", as we were showing before, but you've got plenty of space, and it's actually comfortable. You wouldn't want to be the one that's stuck there and get the short end of the straw, but it wouldn't be that bad of a place to be, absolutely, especially compared to some other 3-row vehicles. There's tons and tons of space there. And with these captain's chairs in the middle, it is so luxurious in the middle. You can recline it, you can move back and forth. You really feel like there's no limit to the amount of space that you can have back there. And those seats, especially with those captain's chairs, again, are as comfortable as these, as firm as these ones, but as comfortable. And they are heated as well. And when we're talking about cargo, the claim to fame for this vehicle as well, as you can see, there's tons and tons of space, as we're showing in the facts portion, with all those seats folded down. But one of the things that I really like with Volkswagen, my car included in this one, it's all the little details that they put in that not all other cars do, which really make a difference when you're using this vehicle every day, especially as a family hauler, because you've got all those little tie downs and hooks and things like that. And then you can pull up that tray, as you can see in the back, and you have more space underneath there that has little organizing things. But most importantly, they take that that blind to cover up any of your goods back there, because it can get in the way when you want to put larger items, and you can store it underneath there. That's a really nice thing, and it sits nice and secure. And the last thing to say, which we usually talk about here, we'll just give a quick Neutral Reviews shout out, subscription shout out. But what we want to say is the sound system. Again, I say it every review. I apologize if you're into this stuff. Savage Geese usually will get really in depth on the radio. I'm just not into it. But hey, as I always say, I have ears and I can hear, and it sounds really, really good. It's the Fender 12-speaker audio system with subwoofers, and for me and my ears, and for the types of things I would listen to, it sounds just fine, which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other related SUV reviews, which happens to be on a Cross Sport, so we can get more cool cars like this one to review and our upcoming one on a Tiguan. Now, we started off this review by looking to see if the 2023 Atlas was, in fact, the sensible choice to make in the mid-size sea of SUVs. And here are the facts and feels that we used to come up with this final thought. Which is, red brakes, fake vents, and extra horsepower cannot make up for that fun car you had to give up to get into this. So you might as well just jump in with both feet into that sea of SUVs and make the sensible choice. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.